Hi, Audrey. Thank you so much for being here at Palo Alto University. I know
Hi.
you graduated from our PSA program,
Yes.
and now you're graduating this June
Yes.
of our Master in Counseling. What makes you pick our school?
Well, it's kind of ironic how I started this journey and ended up here at the PAU. Um, Let me just kind of share a little bit of my background history. I was actually a high school dropout, had 3 children, and got married by the age of 21. And I returned to Sequoia Adult School to get my GED, and then began to realize that that wasn't enough. And then in 1992, East Palo Alto experienced like a profound increase in poverty and crime, making it the highest homicide rate in the country at that time. And so, although my husband and I lived in the midst of it, we wasn't afraid. We didn't fear the violence, and that's not why we relocated. But it was because that when we were there, we realized that it was time to move out, and not to mention my landlord was selling his home, and we couldn't afford it. We were low income at that time, and so we relocated to Sunnyvale, California. And once we relocated to Sunnyvale, I decided to take some courses that a program called Four Cs was having. And so I took this particular program in order to get my ECE units in order to start a family daycare. And I did that for a little while since my kids were little and they needed childcare. And then after time went on, I decided that it wasn't necessary for them to have childcare because they were at school age by a certain time. And so then I decided to return to school and go to De Anza to study music. And as I began to study music, which is one of my passions, I realized that in the middle of it that I didn't want to do music for the rest of my life. So I decided, well, I guess I'll go ahead and try and change my degree. But by that time, I was 3 years in already. So I did change my degree to liberal arts. However, once I got my liberal arts degree, I decided that I really wanted to study psychology. And I just kind of put that on the back burner because I felt like since I already started the liberal arts degree, got my liberal arts degree, I decided I'll go ahead and hold off on the psychology. I felt like it wasn't necessary. I'll go ahead and just do whatever I can with my liberal arts degree. However, it wasn't until that I had a horrific incident that happened in my life that brought me to Palo Alto University. In 2003, August 18th to be exact, just a few days after my middle child's 18th birthday, he went camping with some family members to Mariposa, California Lake, to Mariposa Lake in California, excuse me. And while I was visiting my sister, I went to go visit my sister, go pick my daughter up. She stayed all night at my sister's house that weekend after we celebrated my son's 18th birthday. And it was that Monday morning that we received a call saying that they couldn't find my son's body because he had went out swimming and they couldn't locate his body. And when we received that news that they couldn't find my son's body, I became numb. Something on the inside of me just broke, and all of a sudden I had so many questions, and I couldn't understand that being a woman of faith, a person that always believed in God, I couldn't understand what actually happened and how could something like this happen to me and my family. So it was during that experience that I began to question, like, well, how am I going to get through this? How am I supposed to function? How am I supposed to move on after experiencing the death of a child? And so after having these questions and wondering how am I supposed to go on, all of a sudden there were like a flux of calls and people checking in to find out, well, how do you guys grieve, and how are we supposed to get through this? And so the church and our whole community began to question, like, how are we supposed to function? How are we supposed to move on? And that's where I began to question, how can I find those answers? I'm grieving I'm providing grieving support to other people, but how am I supposed to provide the clinical aspect of support to families, because I didn't understand the mental components of that experience. So after the death of my son, it really brought me into realization of how I was able to function and provide grief counseling, grief support to other families. It also did the same thing for my husband and other family members. Like, how were we able to function after losing my son? And so that kind of took me on a journey and really became my mission to learn how the mind functioned as a result of grief and loss, and the benefits of spirituality, because all of a sudden I had this increased strength that came from nowhere, that I could think of, except for was through my faith and my family and I praying, and the church praying. And then also, I want to learn about how the multifaceted of grief manifested physically and emotionally and physiologically. And so that became my passion to learn about those things. That's how I ended up at Palo Alto University, the undergrad program, and had an opportunity to meet with Dr. Marcel and Rita. And Dr. Marcel was like a mentor to me. He took me under his wing and taught me quite a bit of things about the undergrad program, such as the options that I had for psychology and social action, and then also the business part. And I was more interested, of course, in the psychology and the social action component of the program. And so it was him and Rita that both patiently guided my career decision while helping me to deal with some of the work-related issues that I had, injuries that I had, and also prior to starting school, I had gotten into a car accident. So they provided me with accommodations through student services. So I was truly, truly grateful for that. And so had it not been for the undergrad program that really helped to lay the foundation to my psychological experience and insight, I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at today. It provided me with a basic comprehensive learning experience that pretty much allowed me to make a profound impact, not only in my personal and professional life, but also my spiritual and social life within my community. I was also able to complete my internship at Organizing for Action, which is a nonprofit organization that our past president, Barack Obama, had implemented back in 2008 to push forward the issues that the American people had at that time. Also, I was the chapter lead for San Jose, Silicon Valley, North and South, and did a lot of volunteer work there, and had an opportunity to meet President Barack Obama at that time, and Governor Deval Patrick of Massachusetts. So it was really a whole lot of great opportunities to meet government officials and things like that, working nationally and corporately in that particular organization. And had it not been for me being in the undergrad program at PAU, I'm not sure if I would have had such an opportunity like that. Also, I must say that I believe that while it was the undergrad program that helped lay the foundation of my psychological understanding, it was the master's program that helped propel my vision into a tangible reality. Drs. Weima and Dr. Snow are the ones that helped open my eyes to a world of opportunity in the master's in professional counseling. They the one that persuaded me to come and take my classes, do it residential opposed to online, because I was so tempted to just do it online because I just wanted to just get through the program and start my nonprofit. And so they're the ones that motivated me and encouraged me and just took the time to listen to my story and my experience and really motivated me to come and take my classes on campus. And so I'm excited about that and grateful for that opportunity and that personal experience to be in a classroom setting. And it was also my experience with my advisors and a group of professors that gave me my voice back and helped me to discover my personal identity as an African American Black woman, or even as a woman of color. They gave me my voice back, and my professional identity as executive director of IDJ Grief Support and Counseling Services. Because originally I was planning to go to class and sit in on the classes and just kind of sit towards the back. I didn't want to really, interact too much because my main goal was to get in and get out. But then people would take the time, my professors would take the time and say, hey, what do you think of this, Autry? What are your thoughts? And they got me really involved and had my mind going and had me thinking and processing a lot of different things that I've experienced, as an African American woman, just as a woman in general. And so I'm just truly grateful for the opportunity that I had to be in both the undergrad and the graduate program. The learning experience have been phenomenal. I truly value PAU because they hold true to their mission and values as an educational institution. It was definitely unique in that it's diverse and dynamic community that's dedicated to really developing effective mental health counselors and future leaders in the field of counseling. The program, it wasn't just a thing where they just talked about it, but they really get you involved and really get you connected, and you feel like you're a part of something greater than yourself. So they didn't just talk about it, but they really did strive to benefit society and help reduce human suffering by promoting mental health, wellness, social justice, education, and vocational well-being. They really practiced it and applied it, and we had an opportunity, at least I did, and some of the other members in CSI and other programs at PAU, that you're able to get involved in things that's going on in your community and also within your personal life. So it really give you an opportunity to connect with people that you love and people that you never met and people that you probably never would normally have an opportunity to be around. But it really opened the door to a world of adventure. Also, in my personal experience, I noticed that they never lacked the opportunity to also create and nurture a diverse and inclusive learning community for all students. I believe that was also, I could say that for faculty and staff. They truly promoted like a healing and empowering environment by providing a safe space to address social privilege and oppression, which kind of surprised me because, it was always, those topics were always kind of brushed under the rug, but they allow you to have real practical, tangible experiences in the classroom setting that address these issues, and not where that you feel like you have to walk on eggshells, but where that going into this profession that you have students that's willing and have a desire and a passion to learn and to work with those in the field that we all are going into, that we're striving for. And so this is one of the first places where I really felt accepted and felt like I had a voice, and was totally encouraged to use that voice, and supported my vision to start my own nonprofit and to really work hard at getting that up and running. So just thank you so much. I really enjoyed this time. Thank you for this opportunity to share my story.